Love. Some would say it took a backseat when the pandemic forced us apart. As a family-run and proudly Canadian-owned company, Charm Diamond Centers saw the need to bring us together with tales of love and created the Canadian Love Map podcast. Since then, we've shared hundreds of real, uplifting stories that prove love conquers all. So thank you for listening. We couldn't do it without you. And remember, love starts here. Sarah MacLellan is the producer of the Canadian Love Map, and I'm so happy that we are going to continue this tradition of just wrapping up the season. And here we are. We're at the end of season 3. I think we just blinked, and it was it was just the beginning of season 3 yesterday.
Yeah, it went by so fast, but as always, such a blast, like recording with you, and like so many great stories this season too.
Do you know what? I was thinking the other day, I listened to the Rick and Amanda part 1, and I was overcome with this feeling like, what an amazing job. Is there a better job in the world than this one that I have? I get to tell these inspiring, beautiful, usually uplifting stories and share people's light with Canada. I just love it.
Pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
And with people you might not always get a chance to hear from, like Rick and Amanda. They, we know all about Rick, but we don't always get the chance to get a look into their relationship.
Yeah.
So like it really is you're going behind closed doors, so to speak.
Yeah, that one was
couples.
just gold for me, for sure.
Pure gold.
We often talk about our favorite episodes of the season, and I looked at the list, and I just can't do it because there are so many. There are so many gems.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it all so much.
Yes.
So I'm not doing it, Sarah. I'm not picking favorites.
We're not going to pick favorites. We love them all equally. They're all very different, but there's common themes throughout a lot of them, but they're all, based around love, which is the wonderful part of it.
You're right, though. Apart from our overarching theme of love, and we tell all different kinds of love stories, we also this season have had resilience, so many parts of the whole spectrum of human experience, resilience, gratitude, generosity, humor, remember Ron James? And I just, my heart is full.
Appreciating what matters in life comes to mind too with stories like Heidi's story, just learning. She's someone who obviously has been put in a terrible situation, and she's one of the brightest, most positive people I've ever spoken with. So it's just kind of that really makes you think about what matters and the little things in life too.
Yeah, that's the juicy part of what we do. Love it so much. Love sharing their stories with you, the listener.
Yes.
And you know what? We couldn't do it without our sponsor. We have talked in the past about the fact that we are so fortunate to have a single sponsor for this podcast, and they are committed.
Yes.
So Charm Diamond Centers are just behind us all the way, and we literally couldn't do it without them. So a huge shout out to them. They are the biggest family-owned jewelry store in the country.
That's right.
And that's a really special thing. It's like shopping local.
That's
Canada.
Right. And they do such great things, like in everything they do. It's all very positive and great to work with as well. Just a joy.
So fun. Mm-hmm. So shout out to them. A Merry Christmas to the folks at Charm Diamond Centers, but also a huge happy holidays to everyone that we had the chance to talk to this year. Like, I just hope they all have a wonderful, rich, safe holiday season.
That's right.
It's a tough time for the country.
Yes.
Here we are, well, for the world. Here we are back in it, big time.
Back in it.
But I just want everyone to stay safe and try to find joy in this season, even though there's a lot of stress.
That's right. And we hope that the stories we tell on this podcast brings people light in dark times, as always.
That's it for me.
That is it.
Okay, so I want to tell you this morning I heard from my friend Emily, and she said, I just listened to this episode with Rick and Amanda, and it gave me a great idea. And she started bubbling over. It was a voice message, and she started bubbling over with this love story that she knows. And it just reminded me that I'd love to put the challenge out. If you hear a story on one of our episodes that triggers an idea for you, if you know anyone in your life who's involved in any kind of love story, whether it's romantic or family or community, multi-generational, you name it, we would love to hear it. So I'm talking to the woman you need to get in touch with.
That's me. So if you yourself have a love story that you want to share, or if you know of one, we would love to hear from you. We have an application form. We'll make sure that it is in the description of this podcast. And you can also find it on the Charm Instagram account and the Charm website as well. So reach out, tell us about it, and you too could get on the Canadian Love Map. And I think people tend to minimize their story. Like, we don't always appreciate our story because we're living it.
Yes, it's true.
And so I think, this is a time to celebrate love. So think about the things you overcome or challenges you face. Like, everyone has a love story. So we want to hear it.
We both loved hearing Kelsey's comment when we did Kelsey and Taylor at the end of their interview. She said, "Oh my gosh, this was like the coolest kind of date night for us."
It's a date night.
So there you go.
Yes.
That will help convince people, hopefully.
It's an excuse for a date night.
Or a date day. Because we will work with anytime you're available.
That's right.
And you know what? I think that's it for us for this season. But as I say at the end of every episode, if you love what you hear on the Canadian Love Map, we would love for you to follow and like our podcast and follow us on social media, because that just helps keep the wheels turning.
Helps keep the wheels turning, and share the podcast with the people you love too.
Right on.
Tell them about it.
Thanks, Sarah, for everything.
Thank you, Nancy.
And thanks to the people at Podstarter in general, because it's their baby.
And you're the best host ever.
Oh,
how about that?
I'm going to slip you a special present for that. Okay. Thanks, everybody, so much. We'll see you at the beginning of season 4. Stay tuned. Thanks so much for listening to the Canadian Love Map. If you love us, please subscribe and share. This podcast is presented and made possible by Charm Diamond Centers. It's hosted by me, Nancy Regan, and is produced and distributed by Podstarter.